I want to go back because we're talking about economics. I want to go back to something I've been telling you about for a decade at this point in time. There are now more sort of mainstream media outlets taking this topic seriously. If you go back a really long time, certainly 50 years, you can go back 80, it starts to become less useful if you go beyond when the parties switched. But if you go back 50 years, when you have a Democratic president in the White House, job growth does better, people's income and income growth does better, and GDP growth does better. Now, as always, there are no 2 or 3 metrics which tell you everything you need to know about how an economy is doing. You could say, but we need to look at wages, labor participation, inflation, all these different things, consumer confidence. Sure, but jobs, income, and GDP, all taken together, are well-accepted metrics of how an economy is doing. And they all do better on average when the president is a Democrat. I am thrilled, and we're linking to this article, that Newsweek is finally talking about this. They write, nearly all major U.S. economic indicators, including income, productivity, stock prices, jobs, and domestic product, show growth under Democratic presidents compared to when Republicans are in the White House. I'm not going to give you all the data again because we've given it to you so many times. If you had the choice going back between saying, do I want to be in the job market when there's a Democrat in the White House or a Republican? Statistically, you would have been better off when there's a Democrat in the White House. If you had said, I'm going to invest in the S&P 500 when there's a Democrat in the White House or a Republican, if you could pick only the years that one or the other is in the White House, your investment return would be dramatically better if you had invested only in the Democratic years. Now remember that stocks in general tend to go up, so you would have done okay in either case, but you would have done better when there was a Democratic president in the White House. The New York Times released an analysis on this, and the economy does better when Democrats are president by every single metric. Now, whenever this is presented, whenever this fact is presented, and it is a fact, you might not like it, you might want to explain it away, but it is a fact, we hear many arguments against. One of the arguments we hear is, David, you're looking at the wrong thing. Those metrics did better because it was a Republican-controlled House or a Republican-controlled Senate or both. And the answer is no. There is no clear partisan pattern when you look at control of the House and control of the Senate, other than it sometimes matches what is going on in the Oval Office. That's not a good argument. Next argument that's often made is Democrats just get lucky. You know what happens? Republicans have these recessions and they fix them and then they leave office, and then in comes a Democratic president and they get all the credit for what a Republican did. And there's 2 answers to that. The first answer to that is, okay, let's pretend that what you're saying is true. Let's give the first 6 months of any one president's economic growth to the last guy. So in other words, what that would mean is Barack Obama's first 6 months will give to George W. Bush, give George W. Bush a little bit of the credit for the Obama recovery. It still favors Democrats. So even if you kind of put in place a 6-month grace period, the numbers still don't look much better for Republicans. But maybe the most important thing about this is, if it's true that Democrats are coming in and experiencing economic recoveries when they are in the White House, why are there so many Republican recessions that have to be fixed during Democratic administration? So the analysis is extraordinarily clear. It's a well-known phenomenon. And yet, this is why, we opened the show today by saying economic reality, political reality. You might have an economic reality. Politically, it doesn't exist unless people believe it. And much the same way, there's this, it's really a meme at this point. It almost spreads virally. There's this idea that Republicans are better stewards of the economy. There are no statistical sets of data that you can point to in which that is the case. Let me know via Twitter. You can find me at dpacman. Why does this talking point about Republicans being good for the economy persist so strongly? Because it does. Find me on Twitter. Let me know. Also, just a quick reminder, Tuesday, April 19th, 6 p.m. Eastern, is the next David Pakman Show Town Hall. It will be streaming live on Pakman Live. All are welcome. That's April 19th, 6 p.m. Looking forward to seeing and hearing from many of you.